Yeah. Yes, empowered marketing. Balancing high tech and high touch. High tech, that is, social media is high tech. High touch is the old way of behaving in society. But there is a balance between these. As when something new comes, people think that it will take over entirely from the old. It will not. It's usually both end, and in new constellations and new combinations. And I saw out there at least 25 books about how to email, how to Twitter, how to do this and this and this and that. And it shows that it is a confusion. And if those people who wrote those books, if they are 3 months old, they have to be rewritten, because in the meantime, so many things have changed. So it's difficult to know what is happening there, and I'm not the expert on that, but you'll get other presenters on that. But now let's look at the combination of high tech, high touch. When high tech started to come with the internet in the 1990s, everybody said that you don't need to travel to any conferences more, because you can sit at your kitchen table on your desk and look at your computer. You can make a speech there and send it, and you can all associate via the computer. What do you think happened? The number of conferences grew quicker and quicker and quicker, and I think there are at least 10 times more conferences now than there were in the 1990s. Because actually what high tech, in this case, than internet and all these social media, etc., do, is that it's more easy to connect with people with the correspondence. But you want to meet the people, and it's very important to meet people. And I will give examples of this, other examples of this. This is here I'm trying to show what people thought in the 1990s. High tech will be heavier, high touch will disappear. There was even an American lady who had been in the forecasting of what information technology would do. She said that in 10 years there will be no shops. Everybody's buying everything on the internet. But how do you deliver it? Well, Federal Express and the post office, etc., will deliver all the parcels. Imagine a tour with no people in the streets except people from Federal Express and others running to places and delivering packages. But I think they had to change their mind afterwards. There have been so many strange forecasts. And shopping, internet shopping came very slowly in the end of the 1990s. And then it grew very, very, very slowly. And many who tried it failed. And then it grew very slowly. Amazon was an exception with books and then other things. But then now it's growing. I don't know why it's growing the past 5 years, because 10 years has passed when very little happened. But now it seems to be happening. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that internet purchase of food and other things will take over. Yeah. At the same time as the internet grew, countries started to be bigger and bigger shopping malls. And the shopping malls today are much bigger than the cathedral were before. And they are everywhere. Why are they there? People don't want to shop. Well, people go shopping as they have never done before. And it's a combination also, because you can shop something or you can order something and you can get it sent or you can pick it up yourself. There's all sorts of combination. It's not either or, it's high tech and high touch. So I think this picture is better. You should have that in mind. It's not always exactly like that, but you should keep that in mind. And I'll give you some examples, but I will give you a little conceptual discussion as well. Big data there's a lot of talk about big data. Big data, the information, they say, in society doubles every 4 years. But what is the information? Listen to what people say on their mobile phone. Hello, I'm on the train now, I'm coming home. I brought some donuts as you wanted. And do you have coffee ready when I come? And this is information for who? And why should that go into a huge database? And what can it be used for? But there is something in big data, but it's not the whole situation. And now MIT, the well-known university in Massachusetts, one of their professors says, and I think that's very well put, the combination of people and computers will be able to think in a way that neither people nor computers have ever done before. I think that it's a really exciting potential and opportunity ahead. It's the first time they say people and computers in combination will do the trick. The computers will not do it alone. And that's very true. And it's called cognitive science or collective intelligence now. Well, my specialty is marketing, and over the years relationship marketing and areas around that have preoccupied me. But let me give you a reminder about the purpose of marketing, because we tend to drown in concepts and new concepts, and we mix them and we don't really know what means what. So the reminder is, what is the purpose of marketing? Well, in the end, marketing is everything you do to make somebody buy what you offer on the market. It means that marketing is about direct and indirect revenue-generating activities. Everything else in the company is cost-generating. So we have to keep that in mind, and further, and now I cannot explain the background to you so much because it's short time. But I say that every marketing situation is created in a network of stakeholders. Not just suppliers and customers, but a network of stakeholders. And that makes it much more complex. I was on a tour at Airbus this morning, which looks absolutely dead. We hardly saw any human beings there except some security guards. And we went into the hall where they assemble the Airbus, and there was not a single person there. And I asked, is nobody working here? And the guy said, they are inside the aircraft. And then before we left, I saw 2 people in this technical environment, but they were hidden. And it's interesting to see how important human beings are to assemble an Airbus. And an Airbus is about the most complex product you can make. There are some other similarities, but it's one of the most complex there is. And it's a quiet area. It's, of course, a lot is computers, but the computers are not enough. You have to do other things as well. Once when I flew from Australia, I was with Qantas, and I asked the person, do you think I can sit with the pilots when they go up and land? That was before 9/11, so you could do that. But usually not when they go up and land, because that's the most hectic period. And he came back and said, well, you can't sit when we go up from here, but you can sit there when they land in Singapore. So I sat there with the pilots, and we landed. It was dark, and it was a 747, quite big. And then I saw the pilot turn off the autopilot. The computerized pilot. And I thought, with a huge aircraft like that, wouldn't that be the opportunity to use the autopilot? And then the captain looked at me and said, this is the only fun I have. And he took it down, and you didn't even notice that you were on the ground. So, the human part of it can be very important. In marketing, and I won't go through that so much, there is something called the 4 Ps. You recognize that? Product, price, promotion, and place. You recognize any of this? If you have studied marketing, you probably do that. But it is much more complex than this. Marketing is also experience, it's lifestyles, it's public relations, it's lobbying, for instance, it's public relations, it's a lot of things, electronic things, what you can list there. Yeah. It's some things that happen in courtrooms and contracts. It's the combination of education and developing in companies, and so scientific research and education are important as tools for marketing. And there is a lot of talk these days about cleaning up the world and CRS, corporate social responsibility. I think more talk about it than actual action. So I define now marketing as interaction in networks of relationships. I used to have that for relationship marketing first, but now I found that this is valid for everything. But you have to put it in the context, your specific context, and see what it means there. And note something which we seem to have forgotten. Great marketing and service must have ethics and morals. They have gone down considerably. High trust has gone down considerably. Empathy and solidarity has gone down considerably. And environmental awareness. One thing is awareness but not doing anything, and to create a sustainable society. But this is also coming now. They are talking about that when you sell something, you also have a responsibility for society. And it's very strange that companies, they can, as you can read, especially in American marketing literature, they have one purpose, shareholder value. They don't have to care about anything else. But it's strange. An individual has to care about himself and other people and so on. But if it is a corporation, they don't have to care about other people in society. It is absolutely necessary to have that high touch there. Another thing you see in the literature is on service, that services are taking over. Services have gone up. They were 50% in the statistics in the 1950s, they're 85% today. All new jobs come from the service sector, they say. These statistics are totally supplier-centric, and they are totally irrelevant. There is no statistics of consumption and the value in use and how much value people find of what is delivered. But this is coming now. But compare this with the statistics. They say that the agriculture sector is going down. In France, I know it's fairly high, but in Sweden it's very low. And how come then that we are fatter than ever? It is not possible. And we eat more food than ever. Where does it come from? And technology, they say that manufacturing is going down. How can it be when all the technology is coming up, manufacturing is going up? And then they say services are taking. That is because these concepts have not been defined. But as they are defined today, when you say service, it isn't goods versus service. Service is what you get, not what they deliver something. There could be goods included. If I buy a new car, I buy a package service because that's why I need a car. If I go to a restaurant, they say it's a service institution, but the restaurant is mainly a manufacturing institution with a big kitchen, and you don't even need the servants because you can put everything on the table. Yeah? So a restaurant is not services as opposed to goods. So the term service, think of that. It has nothing to do with how it was produced. It has everything to do with what value. And then what is classified as service is like healthcare. And we have a lack of healthcare in many countries. Pure water supplies, difficult to find in the world. Transportation is often difficult. I mean, in London, you have to commute 4 hours to get to and from your job. Education is, in many countries, not very well cared for. And housing is a problem everywhere. Financial service is a problem, and legal service is a problem. And they say service are increasing. I would say they are not really. And one important thing here is the interaction. I call it paradigm 3 of marketing. And it said, do with others, not do to others. They say, the company does something to the customer. No. The company and the customers do something in interaction. So, let me take some examples. How many of you have ever bought something in IKEA? IKEA. It exists in France, doesn't it? Yeah. And it's growing. He is now 90 years old. And he has withdrawn. His children actually are taking over. And you know, IKEA, you do the whole transport, not the whole, but you go to an enormous building, usually, especially in big cities. And there you pick your things, and you have to carry it to your car, or use the carriage to get it to your car. You have to get it into your car. You have to drive home. When you come home, you have to take it out. You have to take out all these wrappings, and you get a pile of wrappings like this. And when you come in, you have to assemble the whole thing. So that was his idea. If people do that, we can lower the prices. And that is exactly what he did and is doing still. Ingvar Kamprad, who is the owner of it and the entrepreneur, comes from simple, modest, fairly simple family in the south of Sweden. But he has both high tech and high touch, and he can combine that. So it's wonderful to see it. And this is an example. I haven't seen it in the shops yet, but somebody suggested that that you can buy an IKEA car, and you buy all the parts and you put it together when you come home. I'm not sure, that might be going too far, but the idea is funny. A few more examples. There is a company in Finland called Reino and Aino, and they make slippers. You can see there. The male slipper used to be brown, and the female slipper used to be pink or light blue. You know, the cliches about men and women. And the company was going down. And it was for grandmother and grandfather. It was not used by anybody else. But then two entrepreneurs came in, and they saw potential in this. And they started to stimulate the market and do some events. And they got young people interested in these slippers. And since then, it's now about 6-7 years ago, they have gone up from, I think, they produced 80,000 pairs of slippers per year, and now produce 800,000. And what happened? Well, they made a lot of arrangements, physical arrangements, in the countryside of Finland. You run in Finland, and you have to run in their slippers. And you see there is even a junior participant there who runs in her slippers. And why did he do that? And I think there was even one more. I saw there was the football team where there was female football team, and all the female football players were dressed up as French restaurant servants, with all the old stuff, and the slippers. And it's become something that it wasn't before. And do they earn money? Yes, they are quite expensive to buy. They are very good, but they are quite expensive to buy, and it is something that they use physically, and they have all these events around the country where they have these physical events, and these are organized by customers. And Reino and Idol Company, they support them, but they don't try to control them. So the customers have taken over the marketing, really, but they have also a website where you can go in and buy things. So you get high tech there, but without the high touch, the website wouldn't be worth anything. The final example, I don't know exactly where I am, but okay. Then I give a final example from medical service. In most countries, medical service is very costly, and in many countries it's not working very well. In some it's working fairly well, but it's also very difficult. It's one of the most difficult services you can have, it's medical services, because it's in the end about life and death. And this is about the patient. And this is a doctor that I know who has worked this out. So it's original and it's genuine. This is Anna, 82 years old, and you see her there in the middle. She has a number of problems with her health. She has 23 diagnosed disorders. And it could be like not sleeping well, not hearing well, not seeing well. It doesn't need to be cancer or anything like that. But a lot of that, and they accumulate. And when you have 23, it becomes a lot. It becomes a big burden to you. She has got 11 therapies comprising 41 components from the doctors. And 5 doctors have prescribed 9 to 12 pills per day. And this is where the product comes in, that they don't have time in hospitals, so the big pharma industry wants to make pills, so they can just give them a pill. And it sometimes works, but usually it doesn't work very well. She has met 55 specialists in a number of years, and she has met another lot of other people like nurses, masseurs, social assistants, social insurance people, ambulance and taxi drivers, and an endless amount of capital goods and disposables. But what is it Anna probably needs more than all this technology and all these specialists and all these pills? It's somebody sitting there in her room holding her hand and talking to her for a period during the day. This is my touch. And now they say we have to computerize this more and more. All people will get computers so that they can punch in what their problem is, and the doctor will answer. How can somebody who is sick and 82 years sit there, or even if they want you to send messages or Twitters? It's not possible. So, what she has turned into in theory is a network of systems manager. She has a big network to manage. If you want a network and systems manager in your companies, would you hire Anna, 82 years old? But she has experience of this. And she is in a network of so many things, you see, all these people, and it's very hard to know what it is. And you can have a little network, which is her closest family or neighbors, if she has any, because they might be there. So That would help, but maybe she doesn't have that. Okay, let me wrap this up by citing IBM is doing. IBM, you know, was the biggest computer company in the world once, in hardware especially. They changed and they are now the biggest management consulting company in the world, with some 380,000 people around the world, and very powerful. And they talked about computer science. Now they are talking about service science, changing from looking at what they had, the computer, and say, what does our customers want? They want service. And this is being developed very quickly now, and they have created this logo, let's create a smarter planet, which is a good idea. Don't we all want to create a smarter planet? But then we cannot say it should only be technology. It should only be more of IT and all that. It should be more of high-tech and high-tech. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Evert, as well. I think we'll have a couple of minutes for questions, if there is. Any questions for Evert Gummesson?
Maybe the questions come up when you heard the other presentations in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And when you get home tonight and talk to your husband or your wife and sit with a glass of wine, you will only discuss high-tech, high-touch. So,
yeah, no, just one thing, because as you said, balancing high-tech and high-touch, and this human high-touch thing and the emotional. When I read on the internet recently, this whole automate everything, that there are algorithms and other programs that exist that can detect sarcasm, for example, that are highly empathetic when they talk automatically on the internet with other people, like chats or other avatars. So I think the tendency is there to put more touch into high tech.
Yeah. And they interact. You know, it's interesting to see that they used to have dating services in journals before, but it was a very small thing in the newspapers. When it came dating services on the internet, it exploded. And many of this is not good because it's the wrong type of dating services. But there are people who get married through this, and you seriously do this, and who didn't have the chance to meet people otherwise. So, and sometimes I'm more happy to order something on the internet than going to the only shop that has it in my town, where I know the people are arrogant and don't care a thing about me. So, this interaction is interesting. And I think we have to sort that out a lot more. Yeah.
Okay. Any comments? Then, Evert, again, a big thank you for the whole week that you have spent with us here in beautiful La Ville Rose, in the big city of Toulouse. Evert needs to... back.
It's not mine.
Yeah, I will just put it away. Evert will have to take the plane right away, so he will just squeeze out. Get out with Stefan, who will drive you to the airport, so you won't be around for discussion during the coffee break. But still, it was a pleasure and an honor meeting. Yeah.
Can I make an addendum?
Yes.
This is a book that I picked up at the Stockholm airport. It's called Cell. It's written by a young man. He's in his 30s. He wanted to live in New York. He didn't know anybody in New York. This is about 6 years ago. So he went over to New York and tried to find somewhere to live and share with others and some simple job in a restaurant or something. He wanted to become a broker and sell houses and apartments. And how do you do that when you know nobody? He took a course in what a broker does, a short course in it, Then he managed to get a job in a broker firm where, there's a commission. So if they sell, they get a lot of money, but they don't have any salary, really. And today, he is the highest ranking broker in America, all categories, on Manhattan. The most expensive objects to actors and billionaires are sold by him. And what he says, and you can see maybe that he is a smiling, good-looking guy, he says, no, you didn't think so. Smiling he is. Okay, but what he says when he calls his book Sell, he says, in marketing, it's not what you sell. The first thing you have to sell is yourself. You have to be liked. You have to create a relationship. And when you have created a relationship, you can sell anything. And that's what he does. And that's what he tells in this book. This book is in English, probably come in French too. So, that was it.
Again, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.